Hi, it's Larice here, and I'm so excited you're joining me. Today I'm going to talk about why I started my childcare business here in the state of California. People ask me often, why did you start this business? Why do you want to wipe baby butts all day and clean up, spit up? And it's so much more than that. I get the opportunity to invest in families and in their most precious possession, their babies. And that's really a big responsibility, and I don't take it lightly, and it's fun. It's fun to be a kid with the kids. So the first reason why I started this business is because I love kids. So I've worked with children for the last 10 years of my life in lots of different capacities. At first, I was a performing arts teacher for high schoolers when my husband and I lived in Oklahoma. And then it was high school and middle school, which middle school is an interesting age. And then when we moved to California, I was able to teach preschool in our city and then kindergarten. And then I went all the way across the board and started actually working with high schoolers in alternative education. And so I feel like I've had a wide spectrum of experiences in education and working with children. But it all came really to bring me to this moment. And you have to love kids. You have to love kids to work as a teacher, to work as a child care provider, as a counselor, all of those things. You're not going to survive unless you absolutely love investing in the lives of children. And so that's my number one reason. Now, the other reasons why I decided to start this business, I had been working in education for many years, but the last place that I was working at was kind of a difficult situation. I was working for an employer that was not very excited about the fact that I was pregnant with my son. So it made it a very difficult work environment. I would even say hostile at times. And that brought a lot of uneasiness to my position. And I felt like it really hit a boiling point when my daughter started preschool. I wanted to be able to have a bit more flexibility with my time to pick her up from school once a week. And my boss said no. He said, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. And that was heartbreaking to know that someone had that much control and power over my time, to not have any type of flexibility to be able to go and be a part of that experience with my daughter. And I told myself, I will not be in this situation again. I won't be in a situation where someone is able to control my life in that way, control my time with my children. And so it really made me think about, what can I do with this beautiful experience I've had in education and still be able to have time with my kids and have a bit more flexibility around how I build my schedule. Up until that moment, I was perfectly fine with working as a teacher, working as a counselor, and not having to think about healthcare and think about who is doing my taxes and all these other things that you have to think about as a business owner. But once I actually decided to take a leap out of my comfort zone, it really was the best decision that I have made, because the time that I get with my children now is, well, we're in COVID right now, so I get a lot of time with my children, but the time that I get with my children, I get to experience everything with them, and that's really beautiful. I get to have time that someone else had control of before, and so I got to take back control of my time and my work schedule and my time with my kids. Another thing that I was able to regain control over was our living situation. So when I was working for a school district, we actually were living in a part of town that we didn't really desire to stay in. And we had to think, okay, how creative can we get about us being able to have a larger space for our children and for our family, but also be able to afford that space. And me starting my business in home as a child care provider was a big solution to that, because it allowed us to move to a different area of town that we felt more comfortable in for our children. And it also allowed me to be able to have the space necessary to actually launch a business where families would feel comfortable bringing their children into my home. And so when I think about just starting all of this, the craziness that went into starting all of this, I'm so grateful that I was able to do this right now in my life. I could have done this when my daughter was born. My dad actually asked me, he was like, are you gonna, have you thought about starting a childcare business? And I was like, no, that's not something that I'd ever want to do. And I didn't know that it was something that I needed to do for me, something that I needed to do for my children and for my family. The time that we have now is so rich. My son, he's my number 2. So my daughter's 5. She's our only girl. And then my son, he's 2. He'll be 3 soon. And he's my only little boy. And he's the last one. And so the time that I get to experience with him, the memories that I get to build with him, I don't take for granted. And to be able to experience just him growing up with his friends and all the funny things that they do together in this space in my home is so special. And for them to see their mother do this thing that at times is very difficult, to run a small business is very difficult as a woman, especially as a Black woman. But for them to see mom do it, and to see mom take the risk and do it well, and to have that kind of courage, I don't know what it counts for right now, but I do believe that that investment is going to count for something very grand in the future. That's why I started this business, and maybe you're considering starting your own business, whether it's childcare or a hair salon, or maybe you want to open up a boutique. I don't know, whatever it is. I want you to really think about taking that leap. What is it going to take? And counting the costs. Like, is it worth it for me to do this for myself and for my family? And how can I obtain that in a way that I can see the tangible evidence of the benefit of this business in my life? And so below, tell me, what is that thing that you're thinking about maybe starting, that you've been waiting on, but that you're really thinking it's time to take the leap for? Again, thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.